The following program is sponsored. The opinions and statements made by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the views of News Talk 600 and 100.3 WBOB or its parent company, the Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation.
News Talk 600 and FM 100.3 WBOB is proud to present Tula's Tips for Caregivers. Help is on the air with Tula Wooten, your source to go for resources and information to help you in this rewarding but sometimes challenging role. Tula's Tips for Caregivers is brought to you by Age Well Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. To participate in today's show, call 904-222-TALK. That's 904-222-8255. Now here's Tula.
Good morning, everyone, on this beautiful Saturday morning in Northeast Florida. I am so happy to be here with you today, and I have one of my colleagues, and he has become a good friend over the years. His name is Troy Don. He's from Apex Home Health Care, and as you just heard from the promos at the beginning of the show, Apex is one of the sponsors of my radio show. And so welcome, Troy. I'm really happy to have you here today.
Good morning, and happy Saturday, Tula. Most importantly, happy birthday, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yep. I just heard another brain cell go out the window. Another year came in, you know.
Goodness.
Some of these memory things start happening, unfortunately, but, you know, we're working on it. And for those of you who listen regularly, you know that my message to caregivers is try to take really good care of yourself in your role as a caregiver. And I know firsthand it's easier said than done. So on this birthday and for the next few days, I'm going to be taking care of Tula because you have to set aside time for yourself in order to be able to take care of someone else. As a matter of fact, I was getting my hair done yesterday, one of the things that has been neglected for some time, and my hairdresser said, I have this great saying that I say to the man that I love, and that is, after me, you come first. And you know what? That's just kind of funny, and she says it, and we all get a laugh, but there's real truth in that.
There is.
You got to put yourself first in order to be able to take care of somebody else. So today, Troy, I welcome you again.
Thank you.
For any first-time listeners out there, again, my name is Tula Wooten. I've been doing this radio show for over 5 years now, trying to help caregivers. You know, it started off as caregivers in Northeast Florida, but it's really expanded to caregivers everywhere in the world now as I have the internet accessible, and my show is live streamed, and I've got it on iHeart, and trying to help caregivers as they juggle all the responsibilities that come with caring for a loved one. My show is really focused on caregivers who are caring for someone who is a senior, someone over the age of 60, 65, and in particular the frail seniors, because it's then that, you know, as our health starts declining, our bodies start declining and functioning, that some of the challenges arise for caregivers. And let's face it, that's inevitable.
It really is. It really, really is. And today's topic is just a wonderful, wonderful topic for us to discuss amongst each other just because we deal with it day to day. And we hope that the listeners out there, the wonderful listeners that you have, will call us, ask us questions, share with us some of their sides of things, because we know that the job of caregiving isn't easy. And today our message to you is just take it one day at a time, and we'll be happy to help you through it.
And we have lots of resources that we can talk about to assist you in that. You know, my background as a medical social worker, I just draw upon the knowledge and the experience that I've had over the 30-plus years helping hundreds of people access resources to help care for their loved one. And we've got you here today with Apex Home Health Care.
That's right. We're such a proud sponsor of the program, and it's a partnership that Apex is proud to be a part of with you. And for the listeners that don't know anything about Apex Home Health, we're a state-licensed home health agency located right here in Jacksonville, able to service you or your loved ones in Northeast Florida, the Baker County, St. Johns County, Clay County, etc. So don't feel just because we're in Jacksonville that we couldn't care for your loved one. But Apex is just a great company that offers two types of services, skilled care or unskilled care. Skilled care would be where we provide you with nursing, therapy, a social worker, like you just mentioned, in your home. We come to you and provide you that clinical health care that you need. That's covered through Medicare. It's as easy as a doctor's order saying you need this care. They can call the office. I'll be happy to share that phone number with you throughout the broadcast today. And Apex is here to help out. We have a great staff of professionals that are wonderful senior advocates and caregivers themselves. So they're able to walk the walk with you and be that helping hand.
Well, as you know, I've had firsthand experience with Apex Home Health Care in the care of my parents. And so I can definitely stand behind everything that you just said. And, I was talking to a nurse yesterday at a physician's office who was trying to help a couple. The husband had Alzheimer's and he was probably in the moderate to severe stages, and the wife was having a really difficult time caring for him and managing his behaviors. And I said, did you know that Medicare covers for a behavioral health nurse to come out in an instance like that and offer support and help in the home? And she had no idea.
Most people don't. There's that circle out there of the unknown. And really, this is our platform today to educate people, to let them know that, yes, Medicare covers. Make a phone call, ask us. We'll be happy to help out.
And get the help that Medicare will pay for crying out loud. Get it.
Why not?
Get it.
Yeah.
If you're eligible and you've got these issues going on in the home, get the support and help.
That's right.
That comes in. So
that's right.
I'm a big believer. And we're going to move on today and talk a little bit about some of the challenges that caregivers face, because it can be a very challenging role. But before we do, I do want to let my listeners know I have a couple of gift certificates to give away today. I love to give away gift certificates to the Mediterranean restaurant, my favorite place to go for good Greek and Italian food. And I got to give a shout out to my buddies there. They have been taking good care of me and all my friends and family for about 30 years. So they do a wonderful job. Mediterranean Restaurant, $20 gift certificate. If you're brave enough to call in, make a comment, ask a question, ask for resources. That's what we're here for. And then the other one is to the beautiful Riverfront Cafe there in the Haskell Building on Riverside Avenue. They're open for lunch only, but you can go and sit and look at the river and have a delightful lunch. So brave up, call in. It's really not that hard. And we're here to help.
That's right.
I've talked to so many caregivers over the week who, again, are just struggling.
With their day-to-day activities. It's a lot, and I second, because they do share with us their pain, their stress, their anxiety. And if we can be a helping hand today with our message of taking care of yourself as a caregiver, this is what it's all about.
Well, we're going to do that. When we come back from the commercial break, we're going to talk about some of the things that caregivers are at risk for and their own health. And then we're going to talk about ways, like you said, for them to help take better care of themselves. And we're going to have a little fun doing it. You're listening to Tula's Tips for Caregivers on AM 600 WBOB. Listen to these commercial breaks, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Tula, and I'm here to talk to you about Baptist's new Age Well Institute. Are you caring for a loved one who's 65 or older? Are you a boomer like myself who's caring for a parent? And perhaps your parent has been experiencing some decline in their overall health. Let me highly recommend to you the Baptist Age Well Institute. They have the only real geriatrician here in Northeast Florida who is able to look at the whole person. Their comprehensive approach includes a nurse, a doctor, a social worker, a pharmacist, a dietitian. They have their own physical therapy there. They can work with folks with memory disorders. My goal is to help you, the caregiver, find an organization that can care for your loved one who's 65 or older. I take my own parents there, and I highly recommend the Age Well Institute at Baptist. Please give them a call at 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243. You'll be so glad you did.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the Interview to the Paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Tula Wooten with Tula's Tips for Caregivers. Tula is a caregiver, too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Tula included a Tula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Tula Wooten.
Hi, this is Tula with Tula's Tips for Caregivers. I have been fortunate to learn about Apex Home Healthcare Services. They have a Medicare certified division that can help you care for your loved one by providing a nurse to come assist you, a physical therapist, a speech therapist, an occupational therapist, a certified nursing assistant to help you with the personal care for your loved one, and a medical social worker. You know I believe in those. You need to call them and see what it is that may qualify you. They also have a personal care division that you can utilize to bring someone into your home for, say, 4 to 6 hours to give you some relief, give you some respite in caring for your loved one. They are a full-service company that care for your loved ones with compassion and tenderness, as well as professionalism and excellence in care. Please call Apex Home Health Services at 904-425-4202. That's 904-425-4202. Please call them. You'll be glad you did.
And now, let's return to Tula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by Age Well Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. To participate in today's show, call 904-222-TALK. That's 904-222-8255. Once again, here's Tula.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to Tula's Tips for Caregivers. I'm so delighted to be with you. And if you've just joined me, my guest is my colleague and good friend, Troy Don from Apex Home Health Care. We're going to be talking about ways to take better care of yourself, today on the show. But before we do, we just had someone call in to line 1. Bill, welcome to Tula's Tips.
Hi, Tula. Thank you for letting me say happy birthday to you, and how much I've always gotten from your show. As you know, I have some experience as a caregiver. My wife and I were her mother's caregivers, and I'm really looking forward to what Apex has to say, because it's getting to be that time where one or other of us is probably going to need some help. So I'm just going to listen, but thanks for all you do, and thanks for, and have a great birthday.
What a kind call. Thank you, Bill. That really does speak to my heart. I really do appreciate you taking the time to do that. As an aside, make sure you give the producer all your information so I can get a gift certificate to you. Don't hang up till you do that. But
okay.
I need to put you on hold. Okay, but we do have some. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just, never mind.
No, we're here for you.
You have been a good friend to me for a long time, and I wanted to just let you know how much I really appreciate it.
Very kind. You've made my day. Thank you very, very much. I do appreciate you too, and we've got some good info for you today, so keep listening. Troy's got some ways to help you, okay? Okay. Bill, I think we might have lost you, so do call back and give the producer your information, okay? Because I do want to get this to you. All right, so Troy, today we're talking about caregivers and how they so frequently put the needs of their loved one ahead of their own, in front of themselves. We know that is just the natural tendency, the easiest thing to do.
I I was thinking of that throughout the week when you and I were talking about it earlier, and I thought to myself, question number one is, why? Why does this happen? Is it human nature? Is it guilt? What do you think?
Well, coming from the same role, as you know, I'm pretty much the primary caregiver these days for both my parents, and we've been through a lot in the last few weeks, and it's not, for me, I can speak personally for me, and then I'll speak from what I've read. For me, it's not guilt, it's wanting the very, very best for the people that you love so much. You know, now for me, I'm talking about parents who've given me such a wonderful start in life and have always supported me and been there for me. And I just want to give it all back, you know, and make sure that they're getting the very best care possible. It's out of the love, you know, that I have. And I do believe that that is what motivates most caregivers is the love that they have for
I have to agree.
Their loved ones. So it's easy to back burner yourself and your needs. And because the second part is, particularly as your loved ones start declining in old age and they're not able to do the things for themselves that they used to be able to do, including bathing yourself, dressing yourself,
That's
taking
right.
yourself back and forth to the doctor, the driving that you can't do anymore. That's huge. Maybe they're not walking like they used to be. And so now we're working with adaptive devices or wheelchairs, and it's hard to see all that. And so you put in motion everything you know to put in motion to keep them independent and strong. And that, I think that's it. And so as you're doing all that, there's just 24 hours in a day.
Right.
You know, and if you're working full time and then you're caring for a loved one, well, first of all, the two intermingle. You don't work full time and not take care of your loved one during the day. Again, speaking from just the past few weeks of experience related to the care of my parents from either them or any of the myriad of healthcare organizations I'm working with to make sure their care is what they need. I'm sometimes talking about 10 calls a day, 8 to 10 calls a day on top of I'm trying to work a job.
Right.
And so, you know, when is there time for yourself
just
between all that?
Within a 24-hour window, it leaves very little time
Right.
for oneself.
And so when you do get home, and, you know, for me, I've got this wonderful husband who we've only been married a year and a half, and he's so supportive. But poor Freddie, said your name out loud, Freddie, he's there supporting me now.
Right.
Thank God for that. But, you know, that becomes a large part of what our conversation is. So caregiving is a good part of every 24-hour period, and you're exhausted from all the things that you've had to do, the full-time job and taking care of your parents, and all you can think is, I just want to go home, lay down. Sorry, don't want to go to the doctor, don't want to go to the beach, don't want, you know, all the things, you just want to go rest. And so it's the norm, I think. And I do think I don't know, I think there are probably some people who do it out of guilt. And then you're talking about dysfunctional family dynamics. And let's face it, we all got them.
Right.
In every family. But I think mostly it's out of the love that you have, and you just want the very, very best for them.
That's a great message, Tula. Great
Well,
message.
that's why we do what we do.
Exactly.
You know, that's why you do what you do.
That's
You
right.
have a passion for seniors and for their caregivers.
That's right.
And you're younger than me, so you're not entering into the caregiving world yet, but it's coming, you know, and so it's, you know, anybody over the age of 45, you need to be, actually you need to be thinking about it way sooner. But if you're over the age of 45, it's right around the bend for you, so to speak. We have another caller, and I want to welcome Angela to the show today. Welcome, Angela.
Hello. I'm Angela.
Hi, Angela. How are you today?
I'm doing very good today.
How can we help you today, dear?
Well, I just want to share my experience as being a caregiver.
Okay, I'd love it.
For me, being as a caregiver, I have some up and down days as a caregiver, and whatever offenses I take, I just let it go. I just go on with the day. Because, you know, as a caregiver, see, I thank God every day for being one. And there's some days I feel like I'm not doing my job right, but I am.
What makes you feel that way, Angela?
Well, like it's just sometimes I feel that way, but I know I'm doing it right.
And so that brings you comfort because you know you're doing the right thing for the person you're caring for.
Yes.
Well, I commend you for that and for the courage it took to call in today and tell us that, and for the work that you do. It's not easy. We know that.
It's not easy because it's like every day I work late sometimes, and it's like, and then when I get home, I sometimes have to take care of my mom because she's getting sick and ill.
And so you do it for a job during the day and then go home and do it in the evenings too?
Sometimes I do, but I just...
We hope,
Yeah.
Angela, that you're taking care of yourself on a day-to-day basis.
I am taking care of myself.
I was going to say that's really good to hear because it sounds as if you are a great caregiver working out in the field in Northeast Florida, and then, of course, taking care of your own loved ones. And they depend on you, and making sure that your own health is up to par is an important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Well, Angela, I'm going to give you a quote because one of the things Troy and I are going to talk about today is 29 ways to take care of yourself and the secrets of being a successful caregiver. And one of the quotes that we found says, take time to do something nice for yourself, even if it's something simple.
Yeah.
Just something simple sometimes is all it takes to revive and refresh you so you can keep on doing the good work that you do. And so whatever that is for you, if it's just spending a few minutes outdoors in your backyard or looking at the beach or taking a bath or reading a book or whatever it is you love, whatever it is that brings you peace and gives your soul rest, find 15 minutes each day to do that, okay?
You deserve it.
Yes, because I know there's like at least 2 days in the week where I'm off and I don't have any work and I just sit and relax.
You do that and take good care of yourself while you're doing it, okay?
Yes. And sometimes I get overly concerned about some of my patients that I'm close with.
Well, that's because you care about them.
Yes.
And as a healthcare worker, you wouldn't be good at what you do if you didn't get concerned. So I know that the organization who has you is very happy to have you. And you keep doing the good job that you do. But remember, you got to put yourself first so that you can keep on taking care of other people, okay?
Yes.
Thank you, dear, for having the courage to call in today. Give the producer all your info, all right?
You know what? That really is a good...
Okay.
That really is a good tip, for number one, to take time to do something nice for yourself. Read a book, take a walk, go for lunch, call a friend. There's so many different simple things that can enlighten your heart and put a smile on your face.
Right. It doesn't have to cost money.
No.
All of us have things that bring pleasure.
Right.
And enjoyment to our souls.
And if you're so caught up in not seeking that avenue in your life, it's going to build up. It's going to build up. There's going to be outbursts. There's going to be problems. It is so, so important to catch your breath, disconnect from the situation, and enjoy yourself.
It's a mental and physical and emotional break, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Right.
But we are not wired to keep going like constantly 24/7 without that. We will burn out and blow up and give out. I mean, we'll be gone. It's just we can't do it without a break. So again, caregivers, my message to you is even if it's something simple, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, try to do something nice for yourself. We've got lots of tips today.
We really do.
I want to tell caregivers that these 29 tips that we found online at this website called themighty.com, and any of you can go look them up. It talks about caregiving being such a complicated, exhausting role. but it does get...
And weather. Updated on the stories that matter. We've got you covered. AM 600 and FM 100.3 is The Answer.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Serena Williams has done it again. She overcame a slow start, 8 double faults, and a nervy finish to beat Spain's Garbine Muguruza 6-4, 6-4 today for her 6th Wimbledon title, 4 Grand Slam championships in a row, and 21st major overall. Afghan intelligence officials say a U.S. airstrike has killed the top leader of a local Islamic State affiliate with more than 30 other militants near the country's eastern border with Pakistan. U.S. officials are confirming that they carried out the strike, but are not saying whether they killed the leader. Anger has boiled over at a massive commemoration of the slaughter of 8,000 Bosnian Muslims in Srebrenica 20 years ago. The Serbian prime minister was pelted with stones, water bottles, and other objects as he showed up at a public gathering as what was supposed to have been a sign of reconciliation. This is SRN News.
And you hear this over and over again. The NYPD in New York, the Ferguson Police Department. The breakdown of law and order, the breakdown of the civil society, it's unraveling is happening right in front of you. The violence that is sparked in heavily populated areas is one of the reasons people leave heavily populated areas. It's true. And move to the suburbs, regardless of race.
Mark Levin, weeknights at 6. AM 600 and FM 100.3 is The Answer.
AMCO Transmissions, the trusted experts in transmission repair for over 50 years, are also the right choice for all car repairs.
Yes, AMCO Transmissions, the name you know for fixing the most complicated part of your car, can take care of your brakes, tune-ups, belts and hoses, air conditioning, regular factory maintenance. They can fix anything.
Plus, at AMCO, if you think your car may need repairs, we'll perform a free multi-point inspection and let you make the decision. If another shop says you need a repair, stop. Then come to AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care for a free second opinion.
Why pay someone when AMCO will check it for free?
Don't trust your car to just anyone. Get it done right at any of our local family-operated Jacksonville area locations, including Orange Park, St. Augustine, Palatka, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Find the AMCO Center nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
At participating centers, additional diagnostic charges may apply. See center for details. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care, now partnered with Daniel Kids to help local families in need through our We Care Repair charitable initiative. AA MCO AMCO.
The Answer. Traffic and weather.
A vehicle crash on the west side, Blanding Boulevard at 103rd Street. No road blockage, but that is a busy intersection, so give yourself a little extra time to get through it. Also, a vehicle crash with injuries, US 301 at County Road 218. No roadblocks there. The travel lanes are clear. Weather for today, mostly sunny and hot with isolated thunderstorms by afternoon. Highs in the upper 90s and a 20% chance of rain. Currently, it is 89 degrees.
And now, let's return to Tula's Tips for Caregivers. Brought to you in part by Age Well Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. To participate in today's show, call 904-222-TALK. That's 904-222-8255. Once again, here's Tula.
Welcome back, everyone, and I apologize to you. It seems the commercials overrode us while we were still talking, and we are talking today about ways to take care of yourself as a caregiver. We know from recent studies that have just come out, and I do want to cite the National AARP study that combined with the National Alliance for Caregiving in June. They just came out with their study called Caregiving in the U.S. It's a big, broad brush look, if you will, at some caregiving statistics in the U.S., who caregivers are, what their ages are, some of the things they suffer from. And I learned a lot, and I'm still reading through it. It's a pretty long report. But one of the things that I learned, I'm going to touch on a couple things today, and then we want to talk on ways to alleviate some of these problems. One of the things I learned is that half of caregivers experience emotional distress, and a quarter of them, about 25% of caregivers, experience some sort of clinical depression. And that's huge. I posted that on my Facebook page this week, and I had a caregiver write back and go, "You think?" She spoke volumes to me in just those two words. because it is a role that, we were talking about earlier, you do because of the love you have for your loved one and the desire to take the very best care of them. But again, you put yourself on the back burner, and in doing so, so many times you give up things that are meaningful to you. You isolate sometime, and that leads to depression. So how can we avoid that? What are some ways to keep that from happening?
Well, support, some sort of support is priority. And I think what you just touched on is very true. It's very scary, and it's very sad to hear, unfortunately. But it is reality in the caregiving world. Clinical depression can do a lot of harm for you and for people around you. So we encourage you to seek support, seek clinical treatment, talk to a friend, call Tula.
Talk to your doctor.
Talk to your doctor.
If you're in that role and you're caring for a loved one, your doctor needs to know that.
That's right.
Because it does have a lot of impact on you. That's physical, emotional, spiritual. All of that has an impact on your health.
It does.
If you are a caregiver, you need to tell your doctor. Now, I'm not talking about the doctor you take your loved one to. I'm talking about you going to your doctor.
Yes.
Telling your doctor so he or she can talk with you and talk about some of the challenges that you face. And often they can connect you to support.
And they can. That's exactly what they're there for.
Yep.
To provide that.
And then, as you know, Troy, of course, in the Northeast Florida area, we have the Caregiver Coalition in Northeast Florida. And we host so many free caregiver workshops every year, as well as the big expo. And we have the newsletter, and we have a website for you. And that's getting ready to be expanded so that caregivers will have the opportunity to connect with each other and take some online courses. There are a lot of online courses already existing to help you manage the stress that you're under and take better care of yourself. One's put out from Stanford University. So if you just Google Caregiver Course Stanford University, you'll find it. You'll find the website, because I can't think of which one it is right now. There's so many caregiving sites out there, but we're getting ready to make that available. The connectivity, other caregivers need to talk to caregivers.
They do, because you're in the same boat per se, the same cycle, same conversations, right. And sometimes when you can relate to somebody in conversation and you can be heard and they can understand where you're coming from, you're going to walk away feeling much better.
You do, and sometimes maybe somebody's a little further down the caregiving cycle, if you will, than you are, and can give you some advice on how to avoid some of the pitfalls that you fell into and some of the stresses and maybe some of the problems you had, and nobody knows, like somebody else that's in that same role. So connectivity with other caregivers is important. Seek support from licensed professionals like your doctor. If you see a counselor, if you have a counselor, or if you don't, maybe this is time to research one. Because the other alarming thing that I'm going to say, and I learned so much from this last study, is that Alzheimer's caregivers have a 63% higher mortality rate than non-caregivers. In other words, if you're caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's, your chances of dying are 63% higher than those who are not caring for someone, period. In fact, it said 40% of caregivers who are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's die from stress-related disorders before their loved one dies.
Wow, I read that myself, and I read it again to try to digest that, because think of that, 40% of caregivers pass on before the patient with Alzheimer's. So think of the job at task.
Right.
You see your loved one who is provided for you, like you mentioned earlier about your own.
Mm-hmm.
And they're then diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia. And changes start taking place day by day, week by week, month by month. And there's not really any training to be a caregiver in a sense.
There really isn't.
You're dealing with day-to-day activities, like you mentioned, bathing, showering, housekeeping, medication reminders. There's not really training in for that. When you're a personal caregiver, you're basically learning on the job.
Right.
And it's so important to make sure that you're, like we keep saying from the get-go, it's so important that you keep yourself in check because people are depending on you, obviously.
Yeah, and we want your health to be good, and we want you to be happy. We are here for you.
Exactly.
Caregiver. And that is why the Caregiver Coalition of Northeast Florida exists. And you can learn more about it by going to mycaregiverconnection.org or calling me personally at work. And that number is 904-407-6211. Again, 904-407-6211. We're here to support you, the caregiver, and to keep you healthy. I don't want to see caregivers pass away before the loved ones. And, sometimes and again, this study really showed that, sometimes it's the frail seniors caring for the frail senior. And so both have health problems. But if say it's a husband caring for a wife with Alzheimer's and they're both in their mid-80s and he's got maybe some medical problems going on, but she's got medical problems and Alzheimer's, well, he's at a much higher risk.
That's right.
And he's already frail. So the chances of him dying first from the stress related to the caregiving role are huge.
And that's where Apex Home Health and Apex Companion Care can come out right in to assist you as the family member. Like I mentioned earlier, we provide the skilled care. We also provide the companion care, the unskilled care. And that's where we provide you with a certified caregiver, a CNA or a home health aide, and they come in to help your loved one with the bathing, dressing, transferring, exercise, gait assistance, meal prep, housekeeping, transportation, day-to-day living activities that you feel you can't handle. Apex Companion Care is just a phone call away. We'd be happy to sit down with you, create a care plan, and provide you that respite care if necessary.
Well, please, Troy, go ahead and give me the phone number because I know we've got at least one listener and probably more that need to know how to access you.
Sure.
Both for the Apex Companion Care and for the Medicare
and for the home health. Yeah, so there's two phone numbers for Apex. The Companion Care number, which is where you'll find me, it's 904-346-3026. That number is available 24 hours a day, so we encourage you to call anytime. And for the home health, for the Medicare, it's 904-425-4202. And again, that's Apex Home Health. But we're here to help you. Apex is a great supporter of patient care and senior advocacy here in Northeast Florida. And like I mentioned earlier, just a proud sponsor and partnership here with your program.
Well, I really do appreciate it. And, the work that we do together to help caregivers and to help seniors, it's critically important. And we know that our senior population is increasing ever so rapidly.
That's right.
Here in Northeast Florida. And so there'll always be work for us to do in taking good care of our seniors and of our caregivers. And again, I really want to say to caregivers, you've got to take good care of yourself because if you don't, you can't take good care of your loved one. The saying that my friend told me yesterday is, well, after me, you come first. And you can adopt that. And I think all caregivers should. After me, you come first. You're listening to Tula's Tips for Caregivers on AM 600 WBOB. We'll be right back after this break. Hi, this is Tula. If the loved one that you're caring for has recently experienced any falls or had medication changes, maybe they've been hospitalized in the last 3 to 6 months, some new medical condition that's been diagnosed by the doctor, or just an overall change in their healthcare status, or difficulty in walking or bathing or eating, it's time to call Apex Home Healthcare Services. They can help you with all of the above. The number is 904-425-4202. That's 904-425-4202.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Tula Wooten with Tula's Tips for Caregivers. Tula is a caregiver too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Tula included a Tula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Tula Wooten.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the Interview to the Paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
Have you noticed that mom or dad seems to be slipping a bit? Forgetting appointments, skipping meals, repeating stories? You know they're not ready for a nursing home, yet they could benefit from some kind of help. Brooks Rehabilitation invites you to redefine assisted living at Bartram Lakes. Bartram Lakes Assisted Living offers care and services for adults who value choice and independence, yet benefit from 24/7 support. Our residents embrace life, develop friendships, and live life to its fullest. Our residents' families benefit from having peace of mind, knowing that Brooks Rehabilitation, a trusted name in Jacksonville healthcare for 40 years, is overseeing their loved ones' care. Come and visit Bartram Lakes Assisted Living. To schedule a tour, call 904-528-3515. That's 904-528-3515. Or visit www.bartramlakes.org.
Hi, everyone. This is Tula again, and I'm here to tell you about the Agewell Institute at Baptist Health. They're located in the San Marco area. I've been taking my own parents there for about 2 years now. Dr. Lance, the geriatrician on staff, has done remarkable things for both my parents and for me, the caregiver. They have great information, advice, and resources to help me. Dr. Lance and her team of social workers, dietitians, nurses, therapists, and the pharmacist have been so instrumental in helping me keep my own parents independent and living in their own home where they want to be. If you're looking for someone to either supplement the care that your primary physician is giving to your loved one who's 65 or older, or to perhaps become their primary care physician, I really encourage you to call the Agewell Institute at Baptist. Their number is 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243.
And now, let's return to Tula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by Agewell Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. To participate in today's show, call 904-222-TALK. That's 904-222-8255. Once again, here's Tula.
Welcome back, everybody. Troy, Dawn, and I from Apex Home Care just having a great time today talking about the role of caregiving, some of the challenges of caregiving, the unfortunate negative effects it can have on you as a person if you don't put yourself first and take care of yourself. And, we gave out some pretty startling statistics about that a little earlier. But, most caregivers really want to take good care of themselves. They want to be healthy and strong themselves in order to do a good role. So, Troy, I know we've got these 29 tips for being a successful caregiver, and we've only mentioned one or two of them at this point, but that's okay. We've been meeting need, and that's what we're here for. Right. So let me talk to you. You've got one that is
I do. This one came across here just a few minutes ago, and I thought it was just a great because it's so simple, and it can be done by all of us, and it really is a tip number 4 of rest when you can. Rest when you can, caregiver. Meaning if your loved one is off taking a nap or resting for the evening, you're going to do yourself a favor by joining them in a sense, okay?
Yeah.
Same thing goes with a newborn, like we just talked about. That's the rule of thumb for all newborn.
The doctor says to you, when your baby's sleeping, you sleep.
That's right. And same story on the other end, dealing with your loved one. So rest, because your body needs that on a day-to-day basis. You're using all your energy, physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy, rest solves all of that, and very important part of your day.
I like what the person who wrote that tip, Greg McFarland, says. He says, rest when you can. I've gotten really good at what I call battle naps. 5 to 15 minutes of sleep here or there will leave you feeling better, since it's usually the night watch that leaves you worn out. And it is the night watch. For those of you who are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's in particular, we know that a lot of those Alzheimer's loved ones are up all night long, or up 5 or 6 times.
So then you're not resting.
No.
Whatsoever. And your day begins again at 5 or 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. And
when they're up again.
When they're up again, ready to go. So, one way for Apex to come in to help a situation like that is if you are a caregiver and your patient or your loved one is up throughout the night and you're saying to yourself, I cannot rest myself, call Apex Companion Care. We'd be happy to send a caregiver to provide that respite care throughout the evening. So then your loved one's safe. They're not wandering throughout the home. And then you yourself are getting your 6 to 8 hours of average sleep as well.
Yeah, it's
so important.
Critical.
Yep.
Your body can't function without it. And I love that Apex can provide that. And, they can provide 24-hour care.
That's right.
If needed as well.
I tell families every single day that I talk to them, there's no right or wrong schedule for home care, okay? This is care as needed, care on your demand. You call and say, I want somebody to work with my family, 2 days a week. That's fine. There's no right or wrong schedule. There's so much flexibility, and it's a very fluid service for you to take advantage of.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, there's another tip here that is on this same website. And again, we're looking at 29 secrets of being a successful caregiver, and it's on a website called themighty.com. But tip number 8 says, there will come a time when your loved one will be gone, and you'll find comfort in the fact that you were their caregiver. And, that just really resonates to me because, as you know, my full-time job is I work at community hospice, and I see so many family members just truly dedicate themselves to the care of their loved one. And it is what they need and want to do while caring for themselves first still. But you don't want to be left with regrets, I guess is what I'm saying. If you've got a loved one that's difficult to deal with, and maybe they're demanding, and maybe they give you really hard days, and maybe they're not appreciative of what you do. Maybe they're critical of what you do. Not only not appreciative, but maybe they're critical. And, all the stuff that you've had for years as in your relationship with them, that doesn't go away now because you're doing this thing called caring for them. All the history and the emotions and stuff are still there. And so it can be raw at times. But if you can do the things we're talking about doing and caring for yourself, you will make it through.
That's right.
You will make it through, and you will make it through and come out the other end when your loved one's gone reasonably healthy.
That's right.
I think it has an impact on everybody. I think, there's a lot of discussion, and we need to do a show on after the caregiving.
That's a great topic that probably people don't talk about as much.
Yeah,
be a great topic.
We're going to talk about that and I've got some ideas for some guests to join us on that, because when the role ends, you're left. And so many people that I talk to have said to me, now that my loved one's gone, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what to do with myself. You don't want to be that caregiver. You don't want to have to start your life over and try to figure out who you are and what you enjoy.
That's exactly what they say, because it does change you in a sense.
And yet it can leave you with rich rewards. It can help you find out a whole lot more about who you are as a person, for sure.
Yes.
You may have to do a little introspection. You may have to answer some tough questions like, why do I fly off the handle so easily at my loved one?
Right.
Why am I so quick to slam doors on the way out of the house? It's probably a lot of the stress of the responsibilities. But in the end, you've got to keep in mind that your loved one's not going to be with you forever.
Nope.
And you want to know that you were their caregiver and take great comfort in that fact. So that's all I got to say about that
good.
one.
That's really good. Number 9, a little bit different, is keep a sense of humor. Like we say, laughing and smiling is sometimes the best prescribed medicine out there, if you ask me. So if there's an old comedy show, comedy radio show, book, anything that will keep it lighthearted for you, take advantage of it because, again, it does help. You know, we understand day in and day out, there's a lot of demands, a lot of responsibilities. Like you said, sometimes the environment isn't always as perfect as one thinks. So another secret, another helpful hint is try to keep a sense of humor.
Got to find a reason to laugh every single day.
We do it.
I could just look in the mirror, and when we found a reason to laugh, you know, let's just face it. We can be self-effacing sometimes. There's reasons to laugh in our lives. Laugh at the mistakes you make.
That's right.
You know, laugh at, you know, with your loved one. Find reasons to laugh with them because, again, that's going to draw you emotionally closer.
Yes, with joy.
With joy.
Versus
aggravation or
hate.
Yeah, right.
You know, I didn't even want to say that, but sometimes it evolves to that.
It does.
You know, unfortunately.
It does. You know, I have a friend who is 91 who took care of her husband as all his life, and then as he was dying, and she's a nurse, he was a physician, and he died in I guess he was in his mid-80s, and one night he went to bed, he got up out of bed, went to the bathroom, and fell in the bathroom, which as we know, that's where most falls occur, right. Unfortunately, and in the middle of the night, and she's maybe 5'1" and 100 pounds, and so she's in there trying to lift up her husband off the floor, and this is just not happening. So she gets down on her knees and gets on the floor with him and says, okay, honey, we're just going to crawl to the bed together. We're just going to crawl from the bathroom to the bedroom, and we're going to crawl up into the bed when we get there. I'll do this with you. And they laughed about that for 2 days. Laughter, the best medicine. Troy, the show went by too fast again. I'm so sorry. We just need a couple of hours for this. We're going to come back to this topic, though.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Thanks again for having me today and for having Apex on board to sponsor your show. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, Troy, for being here and for all that you do. Blessings to everyone.